So we finally got something Netflix gave. I ain't gonna say they threw us a bone, but they kind of decided to give us something for the culture. So we got Yasuke on Netflix, which about the Black Samurai. Which, oddly enough, when I did some research on this one, because I decided to do some stuff besides just watch it. The story of Yasuke is actually supposedly a true story,
it's real.
And a legend about a Black Samurai. I'm going to say first and foremost, Netflix, please keep putting stuff out that is Black with Black-centric characters. Don't do this shit no more. I'm just going on. No, don't do this shit no more.
You don't have nice things to say about cultural appropriation in the series?
Look, so I'm going to start with one. Okay, cool. Like, you're going to give us this backstory of, like, he's got PTSD from his time being the Black Samurai and all that. I'm more interested in that story than the bullshit they gave us. I want to know how he rose up through the ranks and why was he a slave with that merchant. Like, I want to know about all that shit before I find out 1 ounce about this future. It seemed like from the time he stopped being a samurai to the time this world came on, it was like the whole world had fucking changed on him. Like, we got fucking werewolves and bear wolves and
bear
robots. Like, no, not mechs, but robots. Like,
literal, legit robots. Yeah.
It was almost like kind of like we talked about with Invincible. Like, they're like, oh, we don't know if this is going to be renewed, so let's just get to the meat of it. This felt like to me, they were like, hey, look, you think people want to hear about a Black Samurai, a former slave? Yes! Yeah, you're right. Let's throw some fucking mutants in there and shamans and secret powers from this. I guess she's supposed to be an Asian girl. Like, they just feel like they just like, well, fuck it, we going to take a chance and just throw a little bit of that story in there, but we're just going to make up some random shit and go with it.
She's got a bad case of Avatar state tiredness too.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Going in and out of the Avatar state and then having to take a nap.
No, she reminded me from Storm in the '90s X-Men. Remember Storm in the '90s X-Men would do one fucking storm and be like, yeah, be like,
oh, like, no, I'm good. Finish up, Cyclops. I'm going to take a nap.
She reminded me of Storm. Like, Brian Powers, come on. Oh. I'm like, all right, this chick's about to go to sleep. So Lakeith Stanfield, I mean, say what you want to say about the dude. I did buy into him as voicing Yasuke. I thought he did a really good job. I thought he was probably the only person that did well in all of the voice acting. All the rest of it, man, you can keep that. The fight scenes was okay. Nothing I will write home about. Anything I haven't seen in better anime, but it wasn't for me. I just felt like they put that in to get me and Jason to watch it and then be like, oh, because, Black people, you guys are only partially in the anime, so you won't find out that this is like bullshit anime. Like, and that's what it felt. It felt like some bullshit cash-in anime for me. I do not recommend seeing this shit. I mean, if it's some good shit in there, you could probably YouTube the action scenes. Fuck that shit, man. I'd rather just hear about the Black Samurai story and give me that than all this bullshit you gave me, man. Fuck it. What do you think, Jason?
I only watched the first episode, but I 100% agree with you. Like, I already knew about this story. I think I heard about this earlier this year or maybe late last year about, there actually being a Black samurai in Japan. And like, I read up on it a little bit, and it's actually like this really interesting story about this slave that comes to Japan. Is like they, basically the shogun of the time buys his freedom. Is like, this guy's crazy. And then he becomes a legit samurai, like that other samurai are like in awe of. That's an amazing story. Like, he becomes a well-respected, like, he's like the right-hand man of the shogun. Mm-hmm. And like, there was one point where like people were so excited to see him, like they had to like, basically like send people home. Like, they basically had to give people a curfew because people were just wanting to go see this guy because he was just that great of a celebrity to them. And like, just to see this show just like take maybe the little kernel of the story that is already interesting in itself and just like completely animate it, and it was just really disappointing to me. It's like, this story by itself is interesting. We don't need talking robots or magical little girls or Russian werebears. We just need like the story that is there, because that there's already drama and conflict in a Black guy being in feudal Japan when they're like, Japan has been like an isolationist nation. Like, that story is amazing. Like,
right.
A samurai. Like, it's like, come on, like, it writes itself. So like,
easy money.
I'm not a big fan of anime. I used to be back in the day, back when it wasn't cool. Now it's cool, and I'm like, you guys don't know. Technically, that's not anime, but I'm not gonna.
That's fair. That's right.
I love me some Avatar, but technically, it's not.
Me
anime.
too.
So I watched it.
Right.
I tried to give this show my good, honest college try, and after the first episode, I'm like, I don't need to watch this no more. It's like they took something that could have been like special and unique, and just been like. And just jizzed all over it. I'm sorry. That's
facts. But it's funny. When I heard about after I was doing my research on it, so before rest in peace, Chadwick died. They were in talks of doing a live action version of that story with Chadwick Boseman being Yasuke, which I thought would have been amazing if they actually would have went through with that. They can still do it. Like it's not shouldn't be off the table.
It'd be better than Last Samurai.
Well, I like The Last Samurai, but
Last Samurai.
It would be better than that.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Idris Elba. I'd love to see Idris Elba do that.
And this is the cool thing about the story is because he's this African guy. He was like 6'5" in a time when most Japanese people were like 5'3" or something like crazy.
Yeah.
Like he towered over people, but it wasn't just his physical prowess that made him such a great samurai. Because you can't just be, strong to be a samurai. You got to be smart and intelligent. And he spoke fluent Japanese by the time he got there. Like he had this amazing story, and you had decided that it was be better with robots.
I will tell it that like they kept those things in, but they didn't emphasize it. They kept in that he spoke Japanese. They kept in how everybody kept referring to his height and his skin naturally. Yeah. Like so, they did keep that stuff in, but they didn't really emphasize like why that wasn't important, unless you, like you said, the side story. But in that story itself, they kind of just kept that in to be like, oh, for the people they may understand this. But Jaron, you watched the whole series. What did you think?
Mechs in feudal Japan. The fuck? Also, oh damn, they tried to wash the black off him. And then bought him. I don't know if it came across that they were buying his freedom. He was like, also, I'll take that guy. So it sounded like he straight up.
It's true.
Bought, dude.
That is true. Yeah, I feel like he just bought a slave. Yep.
The best character in the whole thing for me was the robot dude. Oh shit, it's a black guy. Are you two related? Lost my shit.
I did laugh at that line. Like,
what's funny? It was so PC. They were like, hey, we can't get somebody that's white to say this, but the robot. The robot can say whatever.
Because growing up in rural Georgia or suburban Georgia, that happens a lot. Like, oh, there's another black guy. Y'all know each other? Like, I don't know him.
Hold on, Jason. You didn't get the directory of every black person in the world?
I mean,
you get that list when you were. Oh, okay, yeah. I stole mine away too, man. I got tired of Holly Berry calling me all the time, so I was like, "Look,
your black card just in case you need it."
Right. But go ahead, Jared.
I didn't like how a little bit of liquor spilled on the mech and he shorted out, even though the first time we see him, he's fighting on top of a fucking frozen river. Yep. That seems stupid.
Right.
I think one of the best quotes. First of all, I'm not a fan of organized religion, so I love it when a priest is the bad guy because I'm like, yep, that seems right. When he breaks out his brass knuckles, and then Yusuke's response is because he's like, this is God about to teach you a lesson, and he fucking just racks him across the jaw. He's like, your God punches like an old woman. I was like,
beautiful.
Oh shit, that's phenomenal. He getting got by a crucifix. Thought that was a perfect way to go for him. And you're my Star Trek guy. And if you finish out the series, at some point they get into an astral plane, and it looks exactly like the Badlands between Maquis space and the Federation space. It's got the vertical tubes of storm with clouds on the bottom and the top. It's straight up the Badlands. It's just a Technicolor version of it.
They just borrowed it.
Yeah, and they refer to that Russian chick as a wolf twice. Somebody should have told the artists she was a wolf and not a bear.
Because I felt like
because she definitely was drawn
like a bear.
Yeah. Russian bear. It makes sense, but she tracks like a wolf. I don't know if Ursine animals have that kind of tracking ability, but she tracks like a wolf. So, and another character said, "I saw a giant wolf in the woods," referring to her at some point. So I'm like, what is she? It's definitely a bear, but because they shouldn't have taken one. Short face. I mean, it's a bear, but.
Fun fact that I learned on TikTok: a polar bear can stalk its prey up to 6 miles, so they do have a exceptional tracking ability.
Wow. Okay.
TikTok.
Right. Fair enough. I will give her credit too that like whenever she transformed, her clothes stayed on, which was whatever fabric they made for her, like it worked because it didn't shred like the Hulk or like most werewolf movies. The clothes get shredded and they're like naked when they transform. So I don't know if that was a decision because it was maybe it couldn't. This definitely wasn't for kids. I don't know if that was a decision made for that or it was just like, oh, this would be cool because we got robots. So why not have a Mr. Fantastic suit as well be involved in this? So. Right.
It's feudal Japan. Anything can happen.
Evidently, yes.
Technology is limitless.
Yeah.
All takes place in Wakanda.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what happens at the end. Did you see at the end? The very end, I'm like, oh, did motherfucking Yasuke make it to Wakanda? Because he gets like overlooks this beautiful new luscious green area, and I'm like, when he went back to Africa, like what you didn't give any context of what he was doing now. It's just he walked and found this good area and was like,
Uh-oh, Jason, you're gone. You're dead.
You're muted.
You're muted. I think your mic died.
There you go. Yep.
My bad.
Yes.
Oh yeah, but I'm like, you just like Thanos is just like, oh, I'm gonna hang it up and became a farmer after this. Like I wouldn't recommend it. I don't know about you, Jan. Would you recommend this or?
No. It's 3 hours you can spend somewhere else.
I agree, 100%.
I like that it was only 6 episodes and they're only 30 minutes pop. So you texted me today saying, hey, we're going to talk about it. And as I was able to squeeze that in today as a result because it wasn't, but it had some good points. Like I said, I like the robot. I think his character is the most fun. He gives no fucks. He's not PC. Oh, look, I'm black, essentially.
right. Well, go ahead, Jason.
I just hope it's popular enough that Hollywood can say this is a viable story and that they can actually make like a live action story about this actual thing that happened, and give us a story about that rather than this crappy anime. So hopefully it does well enough that somebody will be like, oh, we can just take the story and make a movie out of it, and then they'll fuck it up obviously, but at least they'll try.
Fingers crossed. We can only hope.